5 ways to torture a manipulative person. Welcome to NeuroNexus. In this video, we will show you 5 tested ways to put a manipulative person back into their shell and make them regret ever meeting you. But first, you have to know who you're dealing with here. Manipulative people will do anything just to put you under their control, often without your knowledge. They flip the whole situation to make you feel like a bad person, and yes, they don't care about your feelings. But by arming yourself with these tricks, you will learn that you will always be ready for them. Let's get on with it. Know yourself and cut their supply. Let's set this straight. The biggest strength of a manipulator over you is your weakness. You can bet on it that they will use it against you if you give them the slightest opportunity. You are dealing with a difficult person, so before you can successfully disarm them, you must first know yourself and the blind spot you are unaware of. We call it blind spots because you don't see them, but they are right there, and they influence how you perceive people and the world around you. Your blind spots will make you unable to recognize emotional abusers and narcissists when they play their mind games with you. A manipulator can smell your vulnerabilities from miles away, just the same way a shark can smell a drop of blood in an endless ocean. If you are the type that is quick to take the blame for action, even when you're not at fault, just to make other people feel better, a manipulative person will grab hold of that and turn it against you. However, once you become aware of these weaknesses and know that you don't always have to take the blame for everything, you are already one step ahead of them. So what you want to do is to cut off their supply. As said earlier, manipulators thrive on your weaknesses, but now you already know it's a leverage for them. So when they try to twist it against you, all they find are dead ends. It's like handing them a map that leads to nowhere land. You are already aware of their scheme, so it no longer works for you. That right there makes them powerless. They would burn within themselves because the power they thought they had was all gone. Reduce communication with them. If there's one thing a manipulator wants more, it is to see you as often as possible. They always want to communicate with you or hang around just so they can find something to make themselves feel good at your own expense. To be fair, it's difficult to always have to ignore somebody, and if you're the type that finds it hard to say no, you will find this particularly more tasking. But if you want to protect your peace, you'll have to step up and take the bull by the horns. The first thing you want to tell yourself is that your time is yours, and only you can determine how, what, and who you spend it on. Why is this important when dealing with manipulative people? These guys will always want to creep into your space, with or without your consent, but you have to reclaim that power from them by keeping your distance from them. Make every effort to see them once in a blue moon, once in 100 years if possible. This is important because not everyone can handle the presence of these guys. They come and they want to do everything possible to force you to react emotionally to their mind games. Before you know it, you find yourself falling for their trick. So ignore them. Cut off communication with them. They hate being ignored because your attention is their fuel. If you must communicate, then it has to be through text. One way to do this is to politely claim to be unavailable. You are always busy whenever they want to come around. Remember, you are in control of how, what, and who you spend your time on. When you don't give them space to even breathe for a second around you, they would be left with no choice but to stop wasting their time. This way, you leave them powerless. Make them invisible. Okay, this sounds more like using some Harry Potter spell to make them disappear, but what we mean is to make them feel insignificant to you. Now, this isn't you faking like they don't matter, but actually convincing yourself that, really, they don't matter. These guys are so good at reading emotions, so they can tell when you're not being genuine. What narcissists and manipulators don't want you to know is that they are the most sensitive humans alive. They can't understand their own emotions, so they want to feed off of yours. So when you treat them as if they hold no value to you, you make them want to tear out their eyeballs in frustration. It's like giving them a taste of their own medicine. Here's what you can do. Cut off every benefit you're getting from them and replace every position they occupy in your life. This way you have no reason to contact them for anything. Once they see that you genuinely no longer have anything to do with them, they become paranoid and insecure. Another technique to use is whatever they promise to give you, try to get it by yourself from another source. Now you are passing a message to them that you can live without them. Their self-worth depends on how important they are in your life, so the more independent of them you become, the more they bleed. This way you disarm them and leave them toothless. Strike your boundaries. Do you know what else makes a manipulative person squirm? Realizing they no longer have control over you. Nothing frustrates them more than hitting a wall they can't climb over, and that's exactly what strong boundaries do. They cut off their power supply. Manipulators don't just barge in and take over, they start small, testing the waters to see what they can get away with. At first it's little things, pushing you to do favours, making you feel guilty for saying no, subtly dismissing your feelings. But before you know it, they're dictating your time, emotions and choices, all while making you feel like you're the bad person if you resist them. That's why boundaries are your best ammunition. The moment you set clear limits and stick to them, you turn the tables on them. Reclaiming your space is the perfect place to start. If they pressure you into things that make you uncomfortable, shut it down with simple expressions like, "That doesn't work for me." No explanations, no justifications, just firm, direct limits. Now, to even intensify the wound, simply ignore them completely. When they see that their usual tactics don't work anymore, they go into panic mode. They might guilt trip you, play the victim, or even throw a tantrum to make you feel like you're in the wrong. But you know it's a game already, so don't fall for it. The more consistent you are with your boundaries, the weaker their grip on you becomes. Eventually, they'll either back off or expose just how desperate they are for control. Either way, you win. Protect your peace at all costs, and watch how they quickly lose their hold over you. Show no emotion. Always remember this: these guys thrive on one thing, your reaction. They poke, prod and push your buttons just to get an emotional response out of you. It doesn't even matter whether it's anger, frustration, guilt or sadness. As long as you react, they feel in control. That's why the best way to talk to a manipulative person is to stop giving them what they want. See, they can start an argument just to get you worked up, but instead of taking the bait, you respond calmly, or better still, don't respond at all. Watch how frustrated they get when their tricks don't work. They'll try harder, pushing more, maybe even throwing insults just to get a rise out of you. But you don't even break a sweat. Even if you're hurt, don't show it before them. The more neutral you remain, the more powerless they feel. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions entirely, it just means choosing when and where to express them. Don't waste your energy on someone who only wants to twist it against you. Keep your responses short, factual and emotionless. Simply saying, "Alright," or "That's your opinion," will drive them insane. When they realise they can no longer control your mood, that's when they start losing interest. These guys don't stick around when they can't get a reaction. They want drama, and when you refuse to give it to them, they have no choice but to look elsewhere. This keeps you in full control of your life, your time, and your peace of mind. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about how to maintain healthy relationships, then click the subscribe button so you never miss any of our exciting content. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching.